Hello, hello. This is Verve again with episode 2 of my Fire Emblem Heroes AI Mechanics series. Today the topic will be about movement targeting. Targeting is a little more complex because it requires knowledge about movement behavior in order to identify targets correctly. Since movement is what was covered last time, if you did not watch the previous episode, it might be handy to watch it first to get acquainted with AI movement behavior. So first, let's dive right into our topic. Movement targeting. I was initially going to include attack targeting as well because I thought targeting was going to be a very simple matter from my preliminary testing, but it ended up being complex enough to garner its own video. Movement targeting refers to the enemy that the AI chooses to move toward if there's no attack to perform and no assist they need to use. Knowledge on this matter can be very useful in conjunction with the movement behaviors we learned from the last episode to correctly manipulate the AI in the first turns of arena or grand hero battles where you might not be in the immediate attack range of all enemies. The first thing I want to show you is how the tiebreaker works for movement targeting, because it is important to be aware of this tiebreaker when testing different variables that can affect the targeting. For this video, I will be using Paralog 1 Part 2 on easy mode for pretty much every demonstration, except for one. This map has a relatively low stamina cost, with an isolated enemy and a reasonable space such that we can easily tell who is the target. In this first demonstration, I am using a level 1 Erica and a level 1 Marth. They have identical stats, but since they are different heroes, we can visually differentiate between them much easier than if I used 2 3-star Monarchians. So as you can see, they both have identical stats. Anyway, the enemy whose targeting we are going to observe is this Axe Cavalier on the left, over here. Well, let me set my color first before I forget. Okay. So this Axe Cavalier, we're going to be observing him for the most part, and we're going to get real familiar with him over the course of this video. So what we're going to do is we're going to put Marth down here, and then we're going to leave Erica here. Oops. Hold on, I skipped a little too farther. Alright, so with Marth down here and then Erica right here, they're both equal distance from the Cavalier. They're both 4 spaces. You can count that there. And since they have identical stats and equal distance, they should be equally desirable targets. So with all of these variables controlled, we should be able to find the tiebreaker. So if we go over the movement options for the Cavalier, you can either go here, or you can go here. And if he targets Erica, he can only move to 1, because that's the closer tile than 2. 2's inefficient movement. If Marth is the target, he could move in either of these spots. Both of these tiles are equal distance from Marth, but 1 is a potential ploy from Marth, and he will avoid ploys, as we learned last time. So if the Cavalier targets Marth, he should move down 3 into tile A2. So let's see what he does. And I accidentally skipped ahead, so you might already know. Alright, so we see here it targets Erica. And that seems reasonable because Erica is standing on the tile with more priority from what we learned from the last video. But we'll do the same scenario except switch Erica and Marth spots just to make sure. So this time Erica will be down there and Marth on the right. And the Cavalier goes down and targets Erica. So as we can see, so we can throw out tile priority as a tiebreaker in this situation. But Let's see what happens if we switch their slot order in the team around. Now the Cavalier targets Marth instead of Erica. So it becomes apparent that slot order is the tiebreaker for movement targeting, such that if labeled from left to right as 1 to 4, the higher slot number has a higher priority. So again, we see here he targets Marth. So since we understand the base tiebreaker, we can start to mess around with some of the other variables that may affect targeting. So let's check out some other situations. Alright, here Marth is in slot 2, but I gave him an HP seal. HP could reasonably affect targeting since the Cavalier will do a lower percentage of Marth's HP than Erica's. So if HP affects targeting, the Cavalier should target Erica. If not, it should target Marth because of slot priority. So let's check it out. Okay, so he still targets Marth. So we can rule out percentage HP damage dealt comparisons. Next, I'm going to give Marth an attack seal. If the Cavalier cares about which target he takes less damage from, then he should theoretically target Erica. Let's see what he does. And he still targets Marth. Next, I will give Marth a speed seal. This additional speed doesn't actually let Marth double the Cavalier, but I still figured I'd test it out, just in case. And as we can see, no effect. It still targets Marth. And I also test the quick riposte seal to see if it has any effect. And with quick riposte, Marth does double and kill the Cavalier. So we'll see if it cares about that. And nope, still targets Marth. So at this point, life preservation does not seem to be a factor. Let's check out defense. Here we have Erica and Marth, but Marth has the defense seal. And as you can see, now the targeting changes to Erica. So we finally have a variable that does affect the targeting. And then here I change Marth's seal to close defense. We'll see if this works, because it doesn't change his stat on the... doesn't directly change his stat. But it does give him more defense when the Axe Cavalier enters combat. And he does target Erica, so the Cavalier does indeed account for enemy phase abilities such as close defense, and most likely steady stance, and steady breath, and that kind of stuff. So with damage dealt being a relevant factor, let's see what sources of defense do or do not work. Alright, so Marth is in slot 2 yet again, and in this situation, Erica has a fortified defense seal. Okay, so Marth has 9 defense, Erica has 7 defense, And if buffs do count, it should target Erica. And it does. So the AI does seem to take buffs into account. However, this does seem to be the only outside, and I say outside in air quotes, source of defense that counts. So let's look at some other potential sources of defense that do not work. Here I have just Erica and Marth with no seals, but Xander has a spur defense seal. A spur defense, and Marth is in slot 2, so should target Marth if it does not, or if it does not work, and it does not work. So it's targeting Marth. If it did work, he would have 9 defense, and it would target Erica. But as you can see, it does not work. Here I have Sharina and Fjorm. Fjorm has attack defense bond and is standing next to Mia, so that should be active, and should therefore have 35 defense compared to Sharina's 31 defense. So if the attack defense bond does work, then it should target Sharina. If it does not work, she has lower defense than Sharina, she has 30 to Sharina's 31, then it will target Fjorm. And it does target Fjorm, so yeah, bonds do not work. You can try owl tome effects. So here I have Innis. Okay, we have Takumi with 16 defense. And then we have Innis with 15 defense. But he's got Nidhogg and is standing next to Mia, so supposedly has 17 defense. So if he targets Innis, it does not work. And it does not. And here we have Sharina and Fjorm yet again. This time I gave Fjorm Pavis, and she has Shield Pulse and Quicken Pulse, so she has Pavis charged up on turn 1. And if he targets Fjorm, that means it does not account for defensive specials, because he will do less damage to Fjorm if it does. If they do account for it, and does more damage to Sharina. Or I'm sorry, I probably said that like in the reverse way I was supposed to. But anyway, if it targets Fjorm, it does not work. And it does not work. So as you can see, defensive specials do not have an effect on targeting. And one last thing I will be accounting for here is post-combat damage, like Fury Recoil. So here I have an Arvis and a Sita. The Cav does 0 damage to both of them. And Arvis even has lower defense than Sita, but he's got Fury 3, so technically the better target is Arvis. But still goes for Sita. So we can see the AI does not account for post-combat damage for its movement target. So with all that out of the way, I'd like to now go over something that I misspoke about in the previous video. So in the last video, when I was glossing over targeting, I said that the enemy does not change target until its current target dies. And I got this information from the wiki, and it seemed reasonable at the time. However, I have confirmed this to be false, and in fact, a movement target is assigned before each movement action. So in this demonstration, I have Erica with a defense seal. I have an Erica with a defense seal, so she has 8 defense, and then Marth is buffed by fortified defense from Xander, so he has 9 defense. So on turn 1, we'll see here that the Cavalier targets Erica. But on turn 2, Marth no longer has the fortified defense buff, and now because of Erica's defense seal, she has 8 defense which is higher than Marth's 7 defense. And then if we move them to equal distances again, so we can see they're both 5 distance away from the Cavalier. Now we see that it changes targets to Marth, so the target is assigned every turn. So despite all I've shown here, we all know that when attacking, the AI prioritizes things it can kill. So I've got an example that shows that it is not the same for movement targeting. Okay, so here I've got a Peri and I've got an Oscar. And the Cavalier has 16 attack, so he does 19 damage before reductions to Peri due to weapon triangle advantage. Peri has 4 defense, so she will take 15 damage. And let me keep track of this on the side here. So Axe, Cav, 16 attack, Peri takes 15 damage. So when I say 15 damage, I of course mean will be taking 15 damage, not that she's doing 15 damage. Oscar. Okay, and then we see here Peri has 4 defense. I did the math before. 19 minus 4, 15 damage. And she has exactly a 15 HP, so that would be a one-hit KO. And we have Oscar over here on the other hand. He's holding a Sapphire Lance, so he actually takes 22 damage from the Cavalier before reductions. And then he has 6 defense, so after all said and done, he takes 16 damage. And that is not enough to one-hit KO him. He has 18 health. And let's put them in the same spots we were doing with Marth and Erica. So as we can see here, he targets Oscar. So it shows that it prioritizes targeting the unit it deals more damage to, even if the other would result in a kill. And I switch their spots. Still targets Oscar. And then I will switch their slots, just to show you that this is not a matter of slot priority. So in all cases here we can see that Oscar is being targeted because he is being dealt more damage. But there's yet another factor I haven't touched upon yet, and that is distance. Every example I've shown so far has both potential targets equal distance away from the AI. If they are at different distances, does it change anything? Let us see. So here I've got Oscar and Peri yet again. But in this example, I move Oscar 1 space further than Peri is. And let's see what happens. Well, it still targets Oscar. But let's reset the map. And then let's put them in slightly different positions. Alright, so let's check this out. Oscar is now... Oscar is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces away. Peri is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces away. And then we see the Cavalier actually targets Peri here. So what's going on here? Distance sometimes matters, but sometimes doesn't. Well, I'm about to share a golden formula here for determining movement target priority. So first, let's consider the movement range of the unit in question, our Mr. Axe Cavalier. So since he's a Cavalier, that would be 3. His movement range is 3. And what we're going to do is take the traversable distance a potential target is, and divide it by our movement range, and round up. And let me put that down on the notepad here. So, traversable distance divided by movement range I don't know how to type the symbol for round up. I'll just put it in absolute value bar plus like a caret. So, whoa, that goes off the screen, doesn't it? Let me shorten that. Trav distance. Okay. Let me get rid of those periods. Traversable distance divided by move range, and then alright, that means round up. Okay, and then we round up. And then we're going to call this number the turn range. Okay, so basically the turn range is how many turns does it take to move to the target's tile. So let's rewind. Here. Up here. Okay. So here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So Peri distance is 5. We're going to divide 5 by 3. So that will yield 1.6-ish, and that rounds up to 2. So let's record that in our notepad. 5 distance Peri, 5 distance equals 2 turn range. Actually, get rid of this round up thing. Looks kind of ugly, actually. Alright, so now we've got the turn range, and then next, the next step in the formula is to take the amount of damage the Cavalier will do to Peri, and then subtract from it 5 times her turn range. So let me record that on the notepad here. Take damage, subtract 5 times turn range equals movement target priority. So let's calculate Peri's movement target priority. So she takes 15 damage. The turn range is 2. We take 15 minus 2 times 5. So that will be 5. So Peri's priority is 5. Now let's calculate it for Oscar. Oscar is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces away. 6 divided by 3. That still gets us in the 2 turn range. And then he takes 16 damage. And then, because he's also in the 2 turn range, that will be 16 minus 10. Prio equals 6. So as we can see, Oscar's priority is 6, Peri's is 5. Oscar has a higher priority than Peri, So, and thus, the cavalier targets Oscar. And then let's go to the second part in this clip. In these positions. So Peri is in 6, which is still the 2-turn range. So Peri's priority stays the same. She has 5 priority. But this time, Oscar is 8 spaces away. So now he's in the 3-turn range. So 16 damage minus 3 times 5 results in 1. So now Oscar has a priority of 1, and as such, the cavalier targets Peri. So the more convenient way to think of, or to like look at this formula, is to look at it in terms of different radiuses, like the multiple turn ranges as different radiuses. So let's illustrate that here. Say red here is, so this is his regular attack range. That was okay. That was a little sloppy. Let me try again. Fair enough. So that's his regular attack range, and obviously if anything's in his attack range, he will focus on attacking and not movement. So these spaces are kind of dead spaces as far as movement targeting is concerned. But the 2-turn range would be stuff like, so he can move up to like this space or this space, or sorry, like these spaces on turn 2. And it encompasses like this. Hold on, I'm trying to remember. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it goes like this. So this is his turn 2 range. Let me erase that little stake here. And then in green, do his turn 3. So Oscar's in that turn 3 radius. 1, 2, 3. I think these are turn 3. Let me erase that a little. Yeah, so these are turn 3 ranges, and then I believe everything else is turn 4. Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12. No, there's a little, there's up to 5 movement ranges. I'll do yellow here. Oh, I guess I didn't need that little. So yellow's turn 5, and then orange is 6. So I'll just write it on the side. So orange, oops, a little too far off. Jesus. Alright, 6. 5. My mouse is acting up right now, so can't even like write right now. 5, 4, Blue. Wait, no, not blue. Oh wait, I counted the wrong numbers for a second. Okay, this is alright. Sorry, orange was 5. 5 turn. Yellow was 4. Green was 3. Blue is 2. Okay, so we've got our kind of radiuses. They're not radiuses, just zones, I guess. Maybe a better word to use in this case because there are mountains in the way. But yeah, so we have our zones established for this map, for this cavalier. And let's show this formula in action in another example. Alright, so in this example, I've got Oscar yet again. His stats have not changed. But with him, I've got Barst. Barst has 5 defense, and again, the axe cap has 16 attack. So, Barst takes 11 damage. Oops. Okay, and then we're going to be putting Barst where Peri was. So Barst was in 2 turn range. Oscar's in 3 turn range. Okay, so and then if we plug it into the formula, Barst has 11 damage minus 2 times 5, so his priority is 1. And then Oscar had the same prio as before. He was 16 damage minus 3 times 5, which is also 1. So supposedly we have equal movement target priority here. They both have priority of 1. So the target should be determined by slot order, right? And let us check. So in that case, he went for Oscar. And Oscar was in the second slot. So if it was a slot tie, if it was a priority tie, then slot priority occurred there, and we'll see if he targets Barst now. That he does when you switch the slots. Hold on, I forgot what the rest of this clip was. Oh, okay, and just to show you that the formula is working with these specific numbers, let's raise Barst's defense by 1 and see if he still targets Barst. And nope. He targets Oscar now because with Barst now taking 10 damage because of the increased defense, his priority is now 0, and then Oscar's 1 priority beats out his 0 priority. So now targets Oscar. And we can check another example. So here we have Marth and Peri. Okay, so for now I'm just setting up the scenario that I'm going to be using. But I'll go over Marth's stats. So Marth has 8 defense, because I gave him a defense seal. And then the Cavalier does 13 damage after weapon triangle disadvantage. So he will do 13 minus 8, he will do 5 damage to Marth. And then right now, as you can see the zones, Marth is in the 3 turn range. So let me record this in the notepad. And then Peri has 5 turn range here and takes 15 damage, as we've stated before. So let's calculate their priorities. So Marth, 5 damage, 3 turn range. 5 minus 3 times 5. Prio is -10. Peri, 15 damage, minus 5 times 5. So that should also be priority of -10. So we should have another slot tie situation here. So let us check it out. So we can see here that the Cav targets Peri here because Peri was in slot 2 in the beginning. It was tough to see, but you'll see in a sec that Peri was in slot 2. Alright, so here I move Marth to the 2 turn range, and well, I made a mistake there, but as soon as now it gets out of the way, yep, we see that Barth's priority gets bumped up by 5 because he moved into the 2 turn range. So now he has more priority than Peri. Now let us reset. Now let's move Marth into the 2 turn range and then Peri into 4 turn range. Oh, and if you look at that, he targets Peri again. So now let's switch their slot order here. And then let's check out how the priority works. We'll see if it's confirmed a priority tie and that the slot priority is determining what is going on. So again, I'm just setting up the scenario again. Okay, so the stage is set again, and this time Marth has slot 2 while Peri has slot 1, so it should target Marth here. And so it does. We'll reset. Move Peri to 4 turn range. Targets Peri now. Reset once more. Move Marth back to slot 2, which is where there will be a slot tie with Peri in this situation, and targets Marth again. So I can see this formula works even with differences more than 5, and for long ranges too. And let's check out what happens if we crank it up a bit. So right now we're working with relatively low numbers, you know, like 16, like 5 and stuff. So let's see how it holds up with bigger numbers. Alright, in this demo, I have Mei with 2 defense, and then I have Claire with 4 defense. And then this is the lunatic version of the map. I think I forget to show the Axe Cav stats in this, but I do remember it. So I will tell you that Axe Cav has 31 attack. And let's put in Mei's stats here. So Mei with 2 defense. Okay, 31 attack from the Axe Cav goes to 37 after weapon triangle advantage. So Mei with 2 defense will take 35 damage times 2. And that equals 70 in total. And then I will be placing Mei in the 2 turn range. So let's do that for now. And then Claire. Claire has 4 defense. So 37 damage before reductions, 33 damage after reductions, gets doubled. So that will be 66 damage. And then I will be placing, I'm sorry, wait, hold on. I'm placing Mei in the 3 turn range, not the 2 turn range. And Claire will be in the 2 turn range. So let us calculate their priorities. Well, I'll move them there first, just get them in the visually correct spots. Alright, so let's calculate their priorities. So Mei is 70 damage minus 3 times 5. So that would be 55. Claire, 66 minus 2 times 5. So that will be 56. So it should target Claire. And it targets Claire here. Next, let us remove that defense seal on Mei to get her defense to a staggering 1. And that bumps up the amount of damage Mei takes to 72. And then, thus, the priority is 57. And let's see how this affects the Cavalier's movement. And we can see it now targets Mei, because Mei's priority is 57, greater than Claire's 56. Alright, so what about other movement ranges? These examples only show a Cavalier, so we're gonna leave this map momentarily and return to our beloved pillars map from the previous video. Oops. Alright, so here I've got a Tiki. Got a Tiki with 9 defense and close defense seal. So Tiki has 15 defense. And we have a Lin. She's going to be the other candidate. Lin has 20 defense, but she's got enough speed that she won't be doubled by the red sword of infantry. That's what we're going to be looking at. So the red sword infantry has 30 attack, and as a result Tiki takes, she has 15 defense, so she takes 15 times 2, so Tiki will take 30 damage. Lin does not get doubled, so 30 minus her 20 defense will be 10 damage. And then, let's see, I'm gonna skip the setup here because it takes much longer than the other clip. Alright, so we're in this situation here. Alright, I'm gonna get rid of all of the drawings here for now. Let's see, okay, so here you've got infantry who is 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces from Lin. And I could perhaps draw the ranges again, although it's much easier to just visualize here without any like mountains in the way. Let's move Mia out of the way first. So I move Mia out of the way, and we got his direct attack radius, and then oh, I should have kept the numbers. I'm gonna have to write that again, huh? Alright, so wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is 2-turn range. This here is, God, my drawing's terrible. This is 3-turn range. Four-turn range. And Okay, so that's 5 turn range, and then one more, like a grayish. This is 6 turn. Okay. So let's calculate Lin and Tiki's targeting priority numbers. So we see Lin is, well, I guess I should write the numbers again. So this time, this is 6. Orange is 5. Yellow is 4. Green is 3. Blue is 2. Oh no, they're off the screen a little. Let me move that. Okay. So we've got Lin in 2 turn range. And then Tiki, on the other hand, is in 6 turn range. So if my formula works for, like if it scales with infantry and cav, so that you now divide the distance by 2, such that you get these movement ranges, it should work out such that Tiki here, let me save. Tiki is at 30 damage minus 6 times 5. So it should have 0 priority here. And Lin should be 10 minus 2 times 5. 0 as well. Should be a tie. He goes for Lin here. And if we rewind back to the beginning, we see that Lin has the higher slot priority here. Yeah, Lin's in slot 4, Tiki slot 3. So targets Lin. And then let us skip to 2 minutes. So it was the same thing. I was just reorganizing this scenario, but this time I move Lin 1 space to the left, so that she is now in the 3 turn range. So with 3 turn range, her priority gets bumped up by 5. She should have 5 priority. Oh, I'm sorry. She gets penalized 5. She should be at -5. And as such, the red infantry should target Tiki now. Let's check it out. Yep, he goes down. And let's set up the situation again. Okay, so this time we're going to keep Lin in the 2 turn range. So 0 priority. But this time we're going to get Tiki in the 5 turn range. So now her priority gets bumped up to 5. And then we'll see here. Targets Tiki. So now let us switch the slots of Tiki and Lin. So just to show you that I am switching their slots. And then let's fast forward to here. So this is again the situation where Tiki is in 6 turn range, Lin is in 2 turn range. Both have 0 priority. Last time it went to the left towards Lin. And we see here, he goes down, targets Tiki. So this formula still holds true for infantry. Now let's check out what happens if we use gravity. So Here we've got Barst and Oscar, our good old friends here, back again. And remember, Barst and Oscar had a tie. And then when AI is affected by gravity, movement becomes 1. So we'll see how that affects things. Let me skip the setup on this one as well. Alright, so we are in this situation now. I put gravity on him, get Naoi out of the way. Okay. Let me erase the whiteboard here again. Okay, so we see here Barst is 1, 2, 3 spaces away from the Cavalier, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 from Oscar. Let's do their priorities again. Barst takes 11 damage. And he is in 3 turn range. So his priority should be -4. Oscar takes 16 damage. He's in 4 turn range, so 16 times or minus 4 times 5. He should also be -4 priority. And he goes for Oscar. We can. Well, I guess I didn't get the. I started recording after I went in, but Oscar is in slot 2. And you'll see in a moment I do change the slots. And then here I just reset. And we're getting gravity on him again. And let's see if when Oscar is in 5 turn range, he should now have -9 priority and should target Barst, which he does. So let's go out, change the slots. Oscar is in slot 2. Now Barst is in slot 2. And then I'm going to skip ahead again. Okay. So we have gravity on him again. Okay, and then Oscar is back in 4 turn range, Barst back in 3 turn range. Both have -4 priority. And now he moves to Barst. So there you have it. Movement targeting. It probably looks pretty simple on your average map, and rightfully so. In most cases, you will not need to be busting out this kind of math. But it can actually, I mean, the fact that it can get this complex and require this amount of calculation, I definitely did not expect this. And I did not expect this amount, this video is getting pretty long, and I did not expect this amount of content just from this one topic. So I'm going to have to cover attack targeting later after I research that one. So everyone who made it to the end of this video, thank you for sticking through it. Hope you learned a lot, and look forward to hearing your thoughts and seeing you next time.